These are all the things that we're going to use to build the ultimate $150 mechanical keyboard. Okay, hey, welcome, surprise. We're starting off in the studio today. Let's see what we got. So for the board today, we're using the EpoMaker Skyline 75, which is a 75% hot swappable DIY kit. We've got some really cool colorful keycaps that we will be adding onto this board, which I'm really excited about. We've been using bright colors for a while now, but check this out. These look like the keyboard equivalent of one of those rocket popsicles, you know, the red, white, and blue ones that I loved as a kid. So I'm excited to try those out. We've got some really cool drop halo switches that should be a silent tactile switch. I've never used these kind of like fancy switches before, so hopefully these are going to be awesome. Here's what they sound like. I don't think we're gonna lube the switches this time. They're supposed to be silent tactile, and I wanna see how that comes through with just the switch, no lubing. So cracking open the keyboard itself, boom, this thing looks so good. What comes in the box? Okay, we get a pretty crappy USB-A to USB-C cable and a very crappy keycap puller. I mean, it is kind of a budget. I know 150 bucks isn't cheap, but when you start talking about keyboard stuff, it's not all that expensive, but dang, this board looks really nice. The reason I picked this is it wasn't that expensive, and it did come with a lot of cool stuff already built into it. There's foam, there's plates, there's covers. I really like this see-through, like brownish color. First up, let's crack this apart so we can just kind of see like what we've got under the hood if we did want to upgrade it ourselves here. Okay, so the top plastic part comes off really easily, which is nice after we've struggled with cases in the past. I'm glad we don't have to do that today. Okay, the daughter board for the USB-C connection in the back. We do have some plate foam in here, so I'm not going to do anything crazy today like a silicone pour. It looks like we do have some rubber here in the case itself to sandwich in the PCB, but let's unscrew it. Okay, there is the PCB with the knob attached. Looks like we got some RGB, 5-pin configuration. I bet this would work with 3 as well, though. I mean, it looks like a really nice PCB. We do have some more plate foam in here. I thought this was going to be a gasket, like have an O-ring gasket around the whole thing. That is not the case for this keyboard. It is a nice metal plate here, and we have some fancy looking stabilizers on here. Did these come pre-lubed from the factory is going to be a really big question of mine. I'm not the world's biggest fan of most companies' pre-lube jobs. Like, can you hear all that? That's not a good lube job. So let's lube these really quickly. Stabilizers. I'm telling you, stabilizers are the things that will make or break your keyboard. They do have some lube on them, but not too much, so we don't have to do too much work to fix it. One of the things that I do not like about keyboards like Keychron boards are great if you never ever want to touch them, but the second you want to upgrade a Keychron board, you got to spend a ton of time fixing the really poor lube jobs they do on their stabilizers, because they just do so, like, it's so uneven. Okay, we've got some lube and we've got some dielectric grease right off the top. Do we need to cut these? You just want to make sure you get the bars here on the end and then a little bit in on the bar too, trying to make sure this does not make a bunch of rattling or pinging noises. Sometimes you just make a big old mess and you need a towel to make sure you can wipe your hands up, because stabilizers are always the thing that I make the biggest mess with. We can put the foam back on top of it. Boom, 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 boom. Lots of booms. Boom-bitty, boom-bitty, boom-bitty. Okay, then we can take okay, this will go like this. We'll screw the PCB back down. Now, one of the reasons I'm doing this live today is I want you to see that this is not too bad. I know when you watch a lot of keyboard YouTubers, you watch a lot of mechanical keyboard content or read the forums, it's always like super elaborate things where it's really scary because there's 1,000 different mods or stuff going on, where today you're seeing you don't really need to do much to get a great sounding keyboard. It really comes down to heft and taking care of the stabilizers and picking out the switches are more about like what you personally prefer and just having fun with it. Keyboard should be fun, they should not be something to wholly stress out over. Okay, we'll put this back in here like that. All right, we will then pop the top back on. That's looking pretty good. All we've done is lubed the stabilizers. That sounds pretty darn good. Normally at this part in a video, I would have put all sorts of silica in there, I'd have put a whole bunch of tape in there, or all sorts of crazy stuff. The board itself already sounds pretty darn good. So let's start popping all of these switches in. And I'm really impressed. Normally when I do hot swappable, whoop, hold on, got too excited. Have to make sure we got the knob back on there. I generally will lose a switch or two in the process, and this time I didn't lose a single switch. You can see what we've got left over. Not a single one was wasted, so that's really good news for this board. It sounds really good too. I like how without any work, this thing does not sound crazy hollow or any issues. So let's pop the keycaps on and really see how it sounds. I think these keycaps are actually a fun little set. Can you see this? This absolutely reminds me of some kind of frozen summer treat. I'm really gonna have to get some popsicles after this. It looks really good combined with this see-through black case, and they feel really good too. These are some really nice feeling keycaps. I like a matte feeling, like a little bit of a coarser feeling keycap. I don't like slippery keycaps, so these feel great. I think they look great, but what really matters for mechanical keyboards, how do they sound? I think they sound really good too. I think lubing would take away some of that like scratchiness we hear, but it's very minimal. And all the stabilizers, like the spacebar is normally the big culprit, and I think that sounds great. So we've been working now, I'm looking at my camera timer. We've been working on this for about 45 minutes. So you can see here, without any fancy tools, without any like crazy hoops or spray paints or pours or modifications, you can get an excellent sounding keyboard that does not take too long to put together. And if you like this video, hit subscribe and then click here to watch our $50 keyboard build. Thanks for watching.